had this revelation about smear campaigns the other day that I need to share with those of you who are meant to hear this. So I hope this blesses you. Let's get into it. First of all, a smear campaign is nothing more than a humiliation ritual. So let's look at the definition of a humiliation ritual and see what it actually is. A humiliation ritual is a deliberate act or a series of actions intended to publicly embarrass or degrade an individual, often to exert control, enforce conformity, or to undermine their credibility and self-esteem. These rituals occur in various settings such as workplaces, social groups, or public arenas, and are typically designed to isolate the individual from their community or peers. So that's what a humiliation ritual is. That is a smear campaign. But what we would consider our humiliation is actually our vindication and our deliverance from the chains of the world. And we're going to get into that. But first, I want to tell you what Hebrews 12:6 says. Hebrews 12:6 tells us that God chastises us when he loves us. And that word chastise is to punish, to rebuke, to reprimand, right? To bring consequences against someone. It's just like your child. When your child does something wrong and you love them, you create consequences for them so they go through a learning process to not do those things anymore. So that's what the Lord does when he loves us. He chastises us. And most of us can testify to the fact that before we were saved, our lives were not going anywhere good, right? We were of the world. We had carnal minds, right? We were in the world. And even if you grew up in the church and you had that as your foundational belief, you still would have parts of your character that really need to grow in him, to reflect all of him. But 2 Corinthians chapter 4, verse 3-4 says, "And even if the gospel is veiled, it is veiled from those who are perishing. The God of this age has blinded the minds of the unbelievers so that they cannot see the light of the gospel that displays the glory of Christ, who is the image of God." So there are people who live in this world who are blind to the fact that Christ is king, to the fact that he is the Son of God, he is the image of God, that he's the Messiah, that he's the one who came to redeem us all of our sins. So here's the revelation the Lord gave to me. Gang stalking and oppression and the things that happen in our lives are blessings. And they're not blessings because the Lord wants to just punish us and it's just for the sake of going through something bad, right? They're blessings because they open our eyes and they force us to confront the spiritual nature of the world around us. That is the beginning of the transformation of your mind. The problem is we get stuck in these cycles of trauma that make it hard to break through the fog to finally see the world the way Christ sees the world, to have his mind, his perspective, to live life his way, his truth, his life, to embody that. You know, it's interesting when you read about successful people, they tell you that they went through a series of events to become the person that they are, things that happened that changed them. It might be that they moved from their hometown to chase their dreams, or they broke up with someone they really wanted to be with, right? And that changed their life. Or they lost their job at a time that they really needed it and they were homeless. They went through these trials and it changed them as a person. And these were the bridge of events that made them who they are. Either way, we look back at our lives and a lot of the times we see the hand of God. We see these events that happen that make us who we are. And it's in those trials that we're given the opportunity to decide what we want the future to look like for us, based on whether we're willing to persevere and keep moving forward to finally live the life that the Lord made us to live. We can always see the hand of God in those decision-making times. It's no coincidence to me that a lot of the people who are gang stalked are gifted. You know, they have insight that other people don't have, right? You're able to see things that other people don't perceive. Very much different than the people around you. And that could be in many different ways. Like, for example, you might be the type of person who hears some information about a corporation or the government and you speak on it. You tell the truth. You're brave enough and you're bold enough. The Lord put that in you to speak the truth. You want to tell people the truth, right? You want to let it be known. So you might become a whistleblower, right? So you speak on certain organizations or governments and that can get you gang stalked. We've seen it happen before in the past if you study the history on this. Or the root of all of this for you could be in the spirit. And just like Jesus, you could be attacked for who you are. You know, the king was threatened by who Jesus was. So just you being you, even from a baby, can cause demonic forces, people, demons, spirits, right? The enemy, to be threatened by you and to come after you because of that. So in some way, shape or form, you don't fit the template of the society around you. And that's okay because we're called to be in the world, but not of the world. So as far as smear campaigns, this is the example the Lord gave me. And you see it all the time. Rumors start circulating about someone in the school or the workplace. And this stuff happens in workplaces. It's childish behavior, it's high school behavior, but it happens in workplaces and professional environments where you have grown adults who are doing this type of stuff, right? And all of a sudden, people don't want to speak to one person or they want to speak to those people, right? And they act as if those people are terrible human beings, right? They want to act like you're a bad person and you cannot for the life of you explain why that suddenly happened. But this is the truth that the Lord gave me about smear campaigns, right? Our vindication comes from God. That's what Isaiah 54:17 says. Our vindication comes from the Lord. So you don't have to try and disprove anything. You don't have to try and prove them wrong. You don't have to try and prove that you're not what they say you are, right? You just have to keep living your life. Time will prove it for you. Time is your proof. The vindication comes from God himself. And I'm serious about that. You just have to keep living life, and you living as your authentic self will vindicate you. I don't know how many times I've run into this situation with other people or even myself where people have tried to test your character and they spread these rumors about you to try smear your name. But eventually, as you live your life, as you live authentically as your true self, you're not faking anything, you're not trying to disprove anything, you just go on with your life, the Lord will vindicate you. And eventually it actually becomes laughable that people would make up these lies about you, because people can see when they watch you for a while, they can see you're nothing like that. That was a lie. These are rumors, and it holds no water. But you can't be trying to disprove everything, right? You can't be trying to prove to other people that these lies are not true. You just need to live your life. So many times you can read it in the Bible that Christ was just silent. People would come and ask him things and he just didn't say anything. So unless God puts the word into your mouth to say it, unless you feel compelled by God himself to speak on that subject, to speak on these lies, to disprove this or disprove that, or talk on this, don't say anything. Some situations, some questions, some things do not need you to respond. Your silence is the response. Your silence is enough. And this is why it's so important for us to live a righteous life, to follow in the steps of Christ. Because Christ wasn't innocent because he was a good person, people pleasing everyone around him. He wasn't a good person. He himself says in Luke 6:26, woe to you when everyone speaks well of you, because that's how their ancestors spoke about the false prophets. Everyone's not supposed to speak well of you all the time. He wasn't a good person. Christ was innocent because he was sinless. So it's our sin that ultimately matters. It's our sin that ultimately makes us guilty in the eyes of God. But in the systems of the world, it's what you can prove. It's not the actual truth, it's what you can prove. That's how the courts work. But you can avoid all of that. You can avoid all of these situations that would make you look guilty, even if you're just guilty by association or being around the wrong person. The Bible says bad company corrupts good character, right? So just by following the principles in the Bible, you can avoid looking guilty to the systems of the world. When you let the Lord work on you from the inside out, when you let him develop the fruits of the Spirit within you, he will develop in you a character that people will find very hard to put lies on. And when they try to, it will come to nothing. Because it's not something you're trying to fake. It's not someone you're trying to be. It's really who you are. And when you're genuinely authentic, all people have to do is just see you. And they know that was a lie. Come on. It's laughable. The timing of when the smear campaign starts is also really interesting, because it's always when you're in that wilderness period, the transition period, right? You just found out what gang stalking is. You're trying to figure things out. You're hypersensitive to the things around you. You're in survival mode. The way you perceive the world begins to change, and the way the world perceives you begins to change. And it's in that time when the fog is clearing, you're gaining more clarity, your mind is opening to the fact that the world is spiritual, and you're starting to see how spiritual it really is. That is when the smear campaign begins. And why is that? Because the Spirit started driving the people to do these things against you. They know there's only a limited amount of time before the confusion stops, right? As you gain more awareness, as you gain more knowledge, the natural progression is you're going to want to speak about it. You're going to want to tell other people about your experiences. Because to you, you're shedding light, right? You're letting other people know who may be in the dark. This thing is happening. You're trying to share your experiences, right? You're trying to let them know that this thing happens. And so you might tell your family members, your friends, the people around you, or even strangers, right? You might just want to tell people what you've been experiencing. But because of that hypersensitivity, because of the way you come off to other people, right? Just them not being in the same frequency as you, not understanding your experiences, having no idea what you're talking about. People are going to say that it's all in your head, that you're a conspiracy theorist, that you're just paranoid, right? Erratic, and you're just strange. You're just a weird person. Because to them, you come off like someone who's sitting in the dark corner somewhere with a tinfoil hat on your head, right? Like that's the visual people get when you try to explain this stuff to them, because you make connections where people can't see them. It's the government, it's my neighborhood, people are trying to kill me, they're trying to get me, I know they are, right? And these are things you're experiencing. This is how you genuinely feel. It's not fake, because remember, to you, you're really going through this. This is really where your mind is at. This is your mindset. This is the way you're coming off. You're in survival mode. You feel like you're in danger all the time. You feel like you're being followed. You feel like people are invading your privacy, right? You're going through these things. So to you, it's real. But to them, they look around you and they're like, who's after you? What are you talking about? I can't see anyone, right? And whatever they've heard, whatever rumors have been floating around about you being unhinged, about you going insane, you losing your mind, you being weird, you being a strange person, right? That we should keep away from you and that type of thing. They start to put two and two together and they say, oh, this is what people are saying about this person. They start to feel like it's starting to make sense why other people are speaking this way about you. And it starts to feel like it's true. Meanwhile, from your perspective, you're trying to get the help that you can by telling other people, by making sure other people know this happened. So to them, you just look crazy, right? Because people cannot see what you're seeing. They're not experiencing what you're experiencing. It's not real to them. And then you have these spirits of rejection that cause you to be rejected wherever you go. So everywhere you go, people are staring at you. They feel like there's something with you, that just repels them. They just don't want to be anywhere near you, right? And you don't understand why this is happening. And then you have things like street theater on top of that confuses you further. Because it's like, what are the chances that I'm going to walk past these people today and they're going to mention something that they should not know about me that happened a week ago? Like, what are the chances of that? But if you don't know that humans can be manipulated by demons to have certain thoughts, to be in a certain place, right? To say something, to look at you in a certain way, you're not going to understand what is behind all of this, right? But when you do know that, when you understand that it's spirits that are causing these people to do the things that they are doing, when you understand that and you understand where the victory is, none of this confuses you anymore. But if you don't have that knowledge, if you don't have that understanding, if you don't know this, of course you're going to get more confused. You're going to sink into deeper confusion, right? Because how is all this stuff happening? You're going to get sucked into the drama of it all. The enemy uses smear campaigns to go hand in hand with erratic, paranoid behavior, survival mode behavior, to discredit you, to make you look insane, to make you look crazy, before you can articulate and really put into words what you're experiencing. And it's in the times when you're trying to tell people, you just want to let them know. You just want to explain, right? And because it's happening to you, you're so energetic about it. You're so just amped up, because a lot of the times we go through these spaces of time where we just don't talk to anyone about these things, right? And when you finally feel like you can, you just want to let it all out. And it just makes you look a certain way to people who have no idea what you're experiencing. So you find that people just think you're crazy. They don't want to talk to you anymore. They want nothing to do with you. They delete your number, right? They break up with you. They don't want to be your friend. They don't want to be anywhere near you. And you might see this as a smear campaign because that's what it's been called. But this is a blessing. This is the Lord sifting your life, forcing your eyes to be open to see who was really around you this whole time, right? This is the Lord removing you from the wrong people, the wrong places, the wrong environments, forcing your eyes to be open. So you don't have a choice now. You have to see people for who they really are. The people that left you when you were down, right? The people that had hatred in their heart for you, but they would smile in your face. But when you needed them, they were not there. They deleted your number. They hated on you, right? They chose to betray you. They left you when you needed them. Now you can see this because it's been presented to you. And it's a difficult situation to go through because you wouldn't think that the people around you, the people you're close to, right? Your friends, sometimes your family members, the people you've worked with, people in your neighborhood, people that you were around for years would be the ones that would try to ruin your life, to spread these rumors about you, to destroy your character. You wouldn't think that it would be them, right? But it's necessary to open your eyes to show you the truth of the people around you, to show you the truth of what is in their hearts, what was in their hearts the whole time. And just like John 8:32 says, it's the truth that will set you free. So when the Lord blesses you and you reach your promised land, you reach where you're going in your life, your goals, your dreams, your destiny, people can't just come around you and act like they can claim some of what the Lord has given to you, right? Because they didn't make you, so they can't break you. In fact, they were the ones that tried to break you down. So when they were smearing your name and trying to destroy your character, and they were convincing all of these people who believed them, right, that you were this person that you were not, trying to destroy your character, they were trying to break you down. They were trying to destroy you. And they saw you fall. And the Lord let them see you fall. So that when he builds you back up, when he makes you who he made you from the foundations of the earth, they can't come back around and act like they can claim any of it. Right? Because the world saw you fall. And just like Christ, you're resurrected. Just like Christ. Born again. Resurrected. A new creature. They get to see that about you. Right? The whole world saw it. You fell. The whole world saw it. So they can't come around and act like, hey, I made him, I made her, right? I am the reason they are the way they are. No. They forfeited that when they tried to break you down. They forfeited that when they tried to destroy your life. They forfeited that when they smeared your name, because everyone saw it. So when they tried to say that they have a claim for what you've built, what the Lord has given to you, what the Lord has blessed you with, everyone can see that it's not true. And all of a sudden, all of the lies that they try to make, they fall apart. I know that gang stalking and being oppressed, this whole thing can be scary. Sometimes it can really be like your life is in danger, right? But I want you to understand that these are spiritual issues manifesting in a physical world. The root of all of this is in the spirit. And we have power over those demons. We have power over those spirits. Christ gave us that. Through Christ, we have the power over all of this. And everything that seems like it's working against you, everything that seems like it's humiliating, everything that seems like it's embarrassing, that it's hard to go through, and there just doesn't seem to be a purpose to all of it. I want you to understand that the Lord uses all of it for his good. All things work together for the good of those who love him. And just like Joseph said in Genesis 50:20, what they meant for evil, the Lord has used for good. The world, demons, dark forces, the devil, the enemy, they may have used these things against you to try to ruin your life, to waste your life. But if you look at it for what it really is, this humiliation, these smear campaigns, and everything else that comes under gang stalking, all of this stuff breaks the chains from the world. It breaks the chains connected to you from the world to stop you needing to be loved, admired, and taken in by the world. It stops you being blinded, like the people who are perishing that I mentioned earlier. Because you can't unsee what you've seen. You can't unexperience what you've experienced. These things that we experience bring us closer to him if we let them, because we need him to guide us through the storms. When we can't see, we need him to light the path, because it doesn't make sense. A lot of this stuff is beyond our knowledge, beyond our understanding. And we shouldn't lean on our own understanding, but in all our ways acknowledge him. And he makes our path straight. That's what the word says. Proverbs 3 verse 5-6 says, trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways submit to him, and he will make your path straight. Don't get me wrong, being loved, being treated well, being recognized, being seen, right, being honored, all of those things are great, but we don't need those things. So when we go through gang stalking, when we go through all this stuff, as much as it's a bad thing to go through, as much as it's hard to go through, you don't need this world. You just need him. And as long as you've got him, you don't need anything else. Smear campaigns are designed to discredit you, to make you look crazy, to ruin your life, to destroy your character, to drag you through the mud, and in many situations to essentially exile you, which can feel like literal death for a lot of people because we're social creatures, we're social beings. It's a very unpleasant situation when the world around you rejects you, when the people around you reject you. But if you find yourself in this situation right now, you do have an opportunity to go deeper. to free your mind, to lose your ego, to break the chains of the world. You don't need the world, you need Jesus. You don't need acceptance, you need Jesus. And when you have him, you have all you need. So refuse to see it like a never-ending nightmare. Refuse to see it like something that you'll never get through. And start to see it as a transformation process, as part of your transformation, as the person you're going to become. This is just a storm, and storms pass. They always do. The sun will shine again. I want you to embrace this transformation process. I want you to see this as a process and an opportunity to grow closer to God, right? And to grow beyond needing the acceptance of other people. And rather, seek the acceptance of God. Do the things that he tells you to do. Do what is pleasing to him. Have faith in him, because it's only faith that pleases the Lord. So have faith and keep going. Stay blessed.